There are two methods for modifying the Nerf Firestrike using this kit. The first method I'll be covering is Method A. It's a fixed barrel for stock darts. This is the simpler and more reliable of the two methods. To begin this modification, remove the Firestrike from its original package, assuming your Firestrike is new in box. This is done by cutting the 3 strings that hold it in place. Once it's out of the box, you may choose to remove the darts and the instruction manual from the box. Assuming you have no other purpose for the box, I recommend you recycle it or throw it away. Trace the shape of the blaster onto a note card or piece of thick paper. The shape does not need to be spot on, as long as it gives you an idea of where the screws belong. Poke holes in the paper with a thumbtack in the spots that correspond with the blaster's screw ports. Begin unscrewing the blaster with a number 0 Phillips head screwdriver and place the screws where they belong on the piece of paper. The paper is used to keep track of the screws and keep them organized and to indicate where each screw belongs for reassembly. Now open up the blaster. The majority of the stock internals are not needed for this modification. You can remove the ammo holder for now, but hang on to it. The entire stock plunger rod assembly is not needed. The laser and electronic parts can be removed as well. I recommend you hang on to the orange end strike rail piece. You can remove the secondary trigger that triggers the laser and electronics that is not needed. You do not need the stock barrel. However, you will want to keep the shroud piece that covers the barrel and the laser at the front of the blaster if you're using the replacement barrel included in the kit. You can begin to put all the pieces back into the shell to keep track of all the ones that are necessary for the modifications. Now take the plunger tube and file away the 2 ridges on either side of the front lip. Go ahead and file away all around this lip to roughen up the surface. Test fit the section of 3/4 inch PVC coupler included in the kit to ensure it fits over the lip. If it fits, you're good to go. Also test fit the 3/4 inch by 1/2 inch PVC reducer inside the 3/4 inch PVC coupler segment. Remove the indicated post with needle nose pliers. There's one on either side of the Firestrike shell. Score the lip of the front of the plunger tube using a hobby knife or similar blade. And also score inside of the 3/4 inch PVC coupler segment. This is to ensure that the parts will bond together well. There are a variety of adhesives that will work for joining these 2 pieces, but I recommend you use PVC solvent weld, as I believe it gives the best bond out of any easily available adhesives. Using a popsicle stick or similar object, apply the adhesive precisely to the plunger tube and to the PVC fitting. Also apply it to the reducing bushing and insert that inside of the PVC coupler already attached to the plunger tube. Let this assembly dry and clean off the excess with a piece of paper towel. Now apply lubricant to the plunger head of the plunger rod. Included in the kit is a small packet of lithium grease, but in the video I use silicone grease. Both will work fine. Spread it all around the plunger head and apply it into the plunger tube as well. Run the plunger head inside and out of the plunger tube to make sure it is very well spread and well lubricated. Take the small stub of CPVC and PVC, which acts as an ammo holder addition, and test fit it in the laser part of the barrel shroud. Then hot glue it in place. When the glue hardens, drill a 7/64" hole in the side of this piece and tap it with a 632 tapping bit. You may proceed to thread in the short 1/4 inch long bolt included with the kit. This is to stabilize the holder. However, if you're doing method B, skip this entire ammo holder addition process, as you will do it differently for method B. Now take the included replacement barrel and insert it into the reducer at the front of the plunger tube. Make sure to align the lower part of the tip of the barrel with the front port on the plunger tube. With the plunger rod assembly inserted into the plunger tube, place the entire assembly into the shell of the blaster. Make sure the plunger tube ports are in place on the posts that they reside on. And also make sure the trigger and catch are slotted into the shell as they should be. Now take the barrel shroud and place it over the new barrel. There are holes in the shroud piece that snap into the shell. Make sure these parts are snapped together. You can also put in the stock ammo holder and the end strike rail piece if you so choose. Also the battery cover. Now you can put both halves of the shell back together and get ready to reinsert the screws. Make sure everything snaps into place and go ahead and thread each screw back into the place where it belongs, according to the sheet. You may test prime and fire your blaster, though dry firing is not recommended. Take a moment to admire your work. You're done now for Method A. Method B, interchangeable barrel setup. For those of you who want to use swappable barrels, speed loaders, or longer barrels, this method is for you. Method B begins shortly before the end of Method A, so if you need to backtrack for reference, do so now. Put the plunger tube into the shell and thread in 2 screws in the locations shown. Mark the shell at a spot on the level part of the shell that is about 1/4 inch away from the front end of the coupler segment that is inside the shell. Drill a 7/64" hole on this spot. You do not need to drill through to the other side, but you can if you choose to. Tap the hole with a 632 tapping bit. I did not get footage of this next step, but remove the 2 body screws you just added and put all the internals back into the shell and reassemble the blaster, similar to the end of Method A. Make sure to leave out the barrel shroud and the replacement barrel for this method, as they are not needed. The clips shown are recycled from the Method A clips, but you should be able to get the idea on how it applies to Method B. Thread in the 3/8 inch long 632 included. Make sure it does not extend past the reducer wall. If needed, use the included washers to keep the screw from extending too far. The process of adding the screw is recommended, though not required, for Method A. You may repeat the process for the other side of the blaster if you so desire. Note, you do not necessarily need to use the specific drill bits and taps I described, and a tapping bit may not even be necessary. Using bits slightly larger than 7/64 inch in size and applying extra effort to thread the screw in through the hole without a tap is an option as well. You'll notice there are two posts that prevent any half-inch PVC barrels from being inserted into the bushing, so using a Dremel or file, grind down these posts until you are able to run PVC into the bushing successfully. Hot glue the replacement ammo holder into the part of the shell where the laser used to be. Drill a 7/64 inch hole in the side of the shell, making sure it penetrates through only one side of the shell and ammo holder. Tap the hole with a 632 tapping bit. Thread the 1/4 inch long 632 bolt into the hole. Now you are done with Method B.